Hello, my name is Richard Lehman, and I'm an implementation specialist here at PerfectMind. And what I'd like to do today is I'd like to talk to you about the new calendar and give you a brief walkthrough of the new settings and how they work. This new calendar will be implemented over the next few days between the 17th and the 24th. Now, I can't guarantee exactly what day the calendar will be installed onto your databases. It'll be done in lots, so it's not all done at once. But I unfortunately will not be able to tell you when these specific when your specific database will be upgraded to the new calendar system. Now, we will have a wonderful new training system in live training set up specifically to help you out here and with a new schedule. And those will be posted through marketing at perfectmind.com. And then if you have any additional questions, feel free to please email marketing at perfectmind.com or attend these wonderful live training sessions, and they'll be able to assist you with the new calendar settings. Now, I'd like to actually begin just by starting off with a new calendar. So basically, this is what the new calendar looks like. To get to the calendar, what you want to do is you want to go up to schedule and then go to calendar view. When you click on calendar view, you get this screen. Now what you have here is a search engine up here on the right hand side. So if you're looking for a class or program and you're unable to find it, you can search for the event ID up here. You can organize your view by individual staff members. So if you wish to look at a specific staff member's schedule and events, you can do that here by selecting them. You can click on all activities. And what all activities does is it shows you all of the programs and all of the events that are happening on all of your calendars combined. So you can see here on the screen here, on this specific day, that all of the events are happening. These are not on the same calendar. These are on various different calendars. And these are the calendars down below. And if you wish, you can click now on an individual calendar, and you can see, again, in the main area, this one is organized by week. You can see all the classes that are occurring on this specific calendar, this being the class calendar. Now, underneath, we also have two additional levels of organization, and these are for what we call services. You may be familiar with services already. Well, now these services that are attached to the calendar, I can just click on the service itself. So this adult karate service, I can click on it, and now I see only the classes that belong to that specific service. If I click on this service, the sports karate service, I can see only the classes that belong to this specific service. Or if I click on class, I can see all of them that are on this calendar. And the same way works for all of these calendars. You can have as many calendars as you like, and you can also organize these calendars by categories. Now, we don't have any categories set up right now, but I will show you where we can do that as well. In addition, you can see that this calendar is organized by hour, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can also organize these classes. You can always organize these calendars by various other timelines, and I'll show you that. And then this button down here will allow you to see the full day or simply the business hours. If you wish to print out this calendar and all the events, you can export it as a PDF and print it out. That way you can put them on the wall of the school. These are just a few of the features that I've explained right now. In addition, you can select a specific day that you want to see. You can move to the next day or the previous day. And if you have to come back, you simply go back to today, and this button will take you back to today. You can change the view of the calendar. So this calendar had a default and setting for a week, but if we want, we can revert it to a single day. We can look at a month. And if we wish, we can also look at a list of all the specific courses or programs that are involved in that calendar. And lastly on this screen, you will see this little sprocket. This sprocket is where we get into a lot of the settings that are related to the calendar. So this is where we create a new calendar. This is where we set up the organizational hours. This is where we manage age groups. This is where we manage services. If we want to manage staff, we can do that here. We can also manage facilities, and we can set up customized reminders. And we're going to go through these individually one by one. Now that being said, what I would like to do is I'd like to start going through some of these settings. So let's look at customized reminders first. A customized reminder is when we make a course, when we make a program, when we make an event on the calendar, we have the option to create a customized reminder. This is a reminder that goes out potentially twice, and it's a reminder to the contact that something is coming up. Now we can choose when these reminders go out and we can say what's going to happen for this reminder, and this is what it happens here. So basically what we have is we have hello merge code first name. So this is the first name of the individual for this reminder. This is a reminder that you are booked for. This text can be changed and customized, and you can do that up here. So whatever text you put up here will be brought down here. And then it's a very simple reminder. It simply tells you what, the title, when, and where. And this will go out to your contacts when an event is coming close. And that's really well it. It's that simple. This is a global reminder, so what you write here will be for all events. But remember, it's simply a reminder for your contacts to let them know that an event is coming in. And that's where you can customize it here a little bit to make it special to your organization. And that's it. So I'm going to X the corner here, and that is how you make the customized reminders. What I'll do is when we look at the new calendars and making events, you'll see how that comes into the event in the calendar. All right. The next thing I'd like to do is talk about organizational hours. And these are the hours in which your organization operates. They can be different than facility hours. If you have various facilities, they may operate at different hours, and you can set hours according to that. But the organizational hours are the hours specific to your location. And what we have here is we have operational hours, we have Monday through Sunday, we have a start time and an end time. So if your school opens up as noon and closes at 10 p.m., that's what you would put here. And you'd put these various for all the way down up to Sunday. In addition, we have time off. And what time off is, it's your holidays. It could be a Thanksgiving, it could be a Christmas, it could be a New Year's Eve. And what happens is you simply put the name and date of the holiday. So Christmas Day, December 25th, your location is closed, you click save, and then what happens is if you were to attempt to make a booking on that specific day, you would not be, it would give you a warning. It would simply say there's a warning. This is outside of the organizational hours. It's on Christmas Day. Are you sure you wish to make it? And you would, if the answer is no, you would select no. If the answer is yes, then you can still create the event on Christmas Day. So you can always override if you had the opportunity, but this is a warning for you. The time off is where you put the days in which your organization will be closed. Maybe for a holiday or maybe for maintenance. Any reason of the day that you're closed for the day, you would put that there. Now I'm going to go back to the calendar. All right, just switch to a different view here. I like the week view. Okay, the next thing I want to look at the sprocket is manage age groups. Manage age groups is actually quite self-explanatory, and this is where you define the age groups, the beginnings and the ends. So this allows you to search the system more efficiently. So what this does is simply with the search tools, this defines what your search tools will be. So this is how we define what age groups are selected. There really isn't that much to go through here. The settings are already in here in the system. They're predefined. If you wish to change them, you can go ahead and change them. Otherwise, you can simply leave them the way they are. And that is age groups. The next thing I'd like to show you is manage facilities. Facilities are potentially rooms or floors or mats that you have at your physical location. So in this case, we have two facilities. We have the main floor and we have floor 2. And what if you have 3 floors, then you can add a 3rd floor. And the way you add a 3rd floor is simply by going to new. And in this screen, what we can do is we can give the facility a name. We can call it intro room. This is the room that we perform all of our intros, or it could be for private bookings, or maybe a private booking room. We can provide a description of this room. What happens in this room? What does it look like, etc. And then this little feature down here is for facility dependencies. And what that means is that if the intro room is part of another, maybe the intro room is part of floor 2. So if I've booked floor 2, I cannot book the intro room. The image here on the right-hand side is simply for a picture. So you can add a picture of the floor. It's more graphical. It makes everything look very nice. And for future online purposes, it could also make your online presence more attractive. So I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to go into a pre-existing facility that's already been created. Okay, now I'm going to go into the main floor. Now you will notice here that once you create a facility, you'll also have the opportunity to put in operational hours for that specific facility. And the reason for that is some facilities do not have the ability to, they have different hours than, let's say, the main organization. So what you can do here is you can say, okay, well, our organizational hours are this, but this facility has a different organizational hour system, and we can set that here. And we can set on a global scale if the facility is available or the facility is unavailable. We can set multi-day or maybe just a single day. And then we have a start date. The start date, of course, would be today because we can't start it in the past. And then we select the days. So what days is this facility available? And this is really only if it's outside of the standard facility hours. So we can say that this facility is open up at 6 a.m. and it's closed at 4 p.m. And we could set the hours accordingly across the board. And then we can say, sorry about that, had a little, there we go. And then what we can say is if it ends, when it ends, does it end never or does it end on a specific date? So if we want to end on a specific date, then we simply select the date that it ends on. And what we get is we get organizational hours. So now if we were to try to make a booking in a facility outside of these operational hours, again, the software will give us a conflict. It'll say, it'll give us a warning that we're trying to book something outside of the operational hours. And that is basically that's facility booking. And once we've created facilities, what we can do is we can organize our calendars based on facilities. And I'll again show you that in a few minutes. So I'm going to go back to the existing calendar, and I'll move to the next one. The next one is managed services. If I go to managed services, this you're probably extremely familiar with. We have the related services that we offer here in this database. If I click new, there we go. We can give the service a name. Does this service include ranks? Are we going to do belt ranking with that? Descriptions. What facilities does this service run in? So if a karate class can only be done on floor 2, you can set that here. You can put that there. The prerequisites. Is this service for male, female, co-ed? Is there an age range? We can set that at the service level. In the case of appointment booking, for instance, personal trainers or private lessons, so we can have a private lesson service, and then we can say, okay, this private lesson starts every 5 minutes. Who can view it? Company only, and then fees and services. We don't have to add fees or extras, but basically fees are, if it's not membership based, then the fees are, how much do we want to charge for this specific event? And an extra, we can also add prerequisite extras. We can say, okay, if you're going to book into this service, must you purchase something, or is there an option to purchase something? Again, this is very similar to what's already been done in services on your database, and these extras and fees don't have to be added into the database unless it's required. They can also be done at the course level, and I'll explain that in a few minutes. Okay, so I've returned back to the service menu. The next thing I'd like to do is look at manage staff. So we have 3 staff members in the system right now. We have Keith, Annie, and Anne, and Catherine. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on Keith here. And we've all made staff members in the past, so I'm not going to explain that, but I'm going to show about the schedule. Just like before, we have pay rates and time cards, but we also have the schedule ability. And schedule ability, it works the exact same as operational hours for a facility, except these are the schedules for the employees. So again, just like the operation hours, you set the availability of this individual. Now, this is very handy for intro or private lessons, because what we can do is we can create a calendar specifically for intros and a calendar specific for private lessons, and then we will see the availability of the individual in green, and I'll show that a little bit later. But more importantly, if this person is teaching a lesson somewhere, their unavailability will also be displayed on the calendar because we have the settings of their availability here. So we can see that Keith here has been scheduled for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. It started on a specific day and it's ongoing. If we want to delete the schedule and make a new one, we can simply click delete and create a new schedule. This all comes over to the new calendar system. So I'm going to go back to the calendar, and now we're going to talk more about the calendar system. All right, so let me show you a few things here. So this is the calendar screen again. This is the class calendar, but let's look at that scenario where we have staff members and they have availability on a calendar. So let's say the intro calendar. So we want to book someone into intro class. I can look at this calendar right now and I can see for this day, there is Keith, Annie, Catherine, or no staff member. So we can always book someone into a no staff member slot as well. And I can see that there's no green that I can see on this screen. I'll go full day, I see nothing. So this person, so these people do not have any availability on this calendar. Now what I can do is go to tomorrow. And now I can see on tomorrow, Keith is available because it's green. From 10 to 5 p.m. he's available. So if I want to book a person in for Keith for an intro lesson, I have availability here. Anne is available for the majority of the day, but there's one area over here that she's not available. Now, because there's no event on this calendar, I know that she's teaching a class, she's doing something else. But for our sake, what I can see here is that she's not available. So I cannot book her for an intro at this time, but I can book her here. So I would simply do a quick setup right here. Now, it's always good advice to write the person who's going to be in the subject of the intro. So Richard, intro. So Richard, intro. So Richard, he's going to do an intro. It's going to start at 7 a.m. It's going to go until maybe 7:30, I think is a good time, half an hour for an intro. We already have the staff member because we've clicked in there. We can add a facility. Where do we want this? We can have an intro room, floor 1, floor 2. So let's say we're going to do the intro on floor 2, and then we can add a contact here. In this case, now I'm not in the system, so I'm going to write my name. There we go. And click create. Perfect. And now we have a half an hour intro class scheduled for Richard. Now, if I was to try to book this staff member somewhere else in the system, I would already know that they're not available, and it would give me a warning if I attempted it. And that's just a quick example of how great the system is by telling you the availability times and various other things. So I'm just going to delete this one by clicking an X in the corner, click delete, so it's now gone. And I'm going to show you actually how to make a calendar. So if you go back up to the sprocket here, we click new calendar, and this is where we can create a new calendar. So we have to provide the calendar a name. So we can say Martial Arts. We provided a category. Now, right now, there's one category in the system. It's called classes. But you can create your own categories by going to manage categories, and then we can add additional ones. You can say classes. You can make special events. It depends on if you want to, or if you have many calendars and you want to organize those calendars under categories, you can do that. So just for the sake of it, I'm going to click classes for this one, X the corner, and there we go. So, okay, so now we have classes set up. We can add additional services. These are the services that were in the system right now. So we can add additional services, and you can add multiple services. So this is a specific. So let's just add a whole bunch of them here. And then what type of booking it is. There's different types of bookings in the system. You can have an appointment calendar. So if this was for intros or for private training, I would probably use an intro calendar, and I would have it grouped by staff members. If it was for classes, I would have it as a single booking calendar. So these are classes that happen every Monday forever, as long as I have a membership for it. Courses, those are for classes that have beginning and ends. So a bully prevention, a kidnapping, a women's self-defense course. These are events that have a beginning and they have an end. You can pay a fee to get into them, and once they're over, that's it. It's 5 weeks, 5 occurrences, once per week. That's a course. Facility booking is a little bit different. Facility is actually if you're actually renting out an entire facility to a group of people. These are the 3 main ones that would be the concern for you, and most likely would be appointments and single bookings, and then if you do courses, courses would be the 3rd. We can assign the calendar a color. So whatever color that we choose, we can design a color. We can also define how the calendar looks. Is it week, month, list, or day? Generally, if it's an appointment calendar, I would want day. If it's another calendar, I'd probably want week or month. The only time I would really choose list is if you have many calendar events and you want to be able to list them to organize them so you can visualize them a little bit better. So I'm going to keep this one as a week calendar. The time scale. So this is what I meant. The one calendar that we looked at was divided by hours. So it had 60 minutes. But we can split the calendar up into 2 half-hour blocks between 7 and 8 o'clock, 4 blocks between 7 and 8 o'clock, or 10 blocks, on 10 minutes, or 6 blocks on a 10-minute time scale. So I'm going to choose 15 minutes just to show you what it does. You have the ability to group it by staff, group it by facility, or just group it by none, which would be the default day. If I was to group it by staff, then what I would do is I would see a calendar where all the staff people in the organization would be in the columns. If I did facility, then it would be the floors in this case. Main floor and floor 2 would be the columns. If you had an intro room, that would be another column, or none. Because this is going to be a single booking calendar, I would probably want to group it by none. I would just want to see all the events, just like the class calendar that we saw. And these are the reminder emails. There are 2 places in the system that you can make reminder emails. You can do it here, or you could do it at the class level when you make a physical event. If you were to do it here, then any event that you create will automatically have this enabled, so it would happen. So if you want every class to have a reminder email all the time on a calendar, you would do it here. If you don't, then you'd probably want to disable it, and then when you make the individual class or course, you would set the reminders up when you make them. And I'll show you that when we make a course. So right now, just to show you, I'll say that I want only 1 reminder email, and I want to go out 1 day before the start of the event. RSVP allows your students to RSVP if they're coming to an event. So they book into it, but they still have to RSVP. So what's going to happen is they're going to get an email requesting them to RSVP if it's a yes or no or a maybe. And that can be enabled or disabled depending on your choice. And last, you have permissions. Who can see the calendar? Do you want it only visible to employees? Do you want it all users? Do you want it members? Or do you want the general public? So let's say in this case, I want the general public to view it, but I just want them to view all events. The general public, of course, could never edit. Employees, I could change the permissions for employee. An employee could add an event, they could edit an event, they can add or edit an event, or they have full permissions, 100%. So you can set the permission levels based on if you want people to be able to do certain things onto the calendar. When that's done, we simply click Save. Oh, I've already made a calendar with that name on it. All right, so you can't have two calendars with the same name on it. So now what we have is we have the category, which you didn't see before. So now we have a category for classes and a category with no category and a category for the items without a category. So now that we've made a calendar, what we can do is we can also add a calendar. So let's say I want to take this class calendar. I can go into settings, and then I want to add it to the other category. Right now it's none. I would simply click classes and click save. So you can make changes to a calendar as well. So now under classes, we have the martial arts classes and classes. The rest of these are no, and we can collapse these to make things a little bit more organized. Perfect. Okay. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you how to make a specific event. And this is the final phase with the new calendar. And there's lots of new features here where we're making events. So let me show you. So I'm going to go to the class calendar, and I'm going to want to make an event on Monday at 2 o'clock. So I can click right there. So it's Monday at 2 o'clock. It runs an hour. That's the default, so we can keep that. There are two services attached to this calendar. So I'm going to want this to be a karate service. Karate class, part of the sports karate service. I'm going to give it a name. Sport Karate Adult. There we go. So Sport Karate Adult. Now I need to make sure that I have the beginning and end time. So this one starts at 2. It's going to go to 3 p.m. There we go. If there is an individual staff member that will teach this class, I can pick that person. So let's say Anne teaches this class. If there's a place that it's taught all the time, I can pick that one too. So this one's always taught on floor 4. We're not going to add an attendee because we're going to make this a single booking, regular occurring event, just like your single booking events that you currently have. I click edit and I get additional features. So all the features that I had were already there. Time didn't catch in, so there we go. There we go. So the floor and the time, so all those settings are already here. If we want a registration form, we can always add that. And then if a person is booking online, they would get the registration form automatically. If they're booking at your level, at the school level, you would have to click on the registration button to see that. So let's see here. There's already a questionnaire in the system called questionnaire, but let me show you how to create a new one. So let's see here. Now what happens is when you create a registration form or a questionnaire, you would simply give it a title. So title, you would have a description. Oop. There you go, description. It's a funny keyboard. And then we would add simply the questions. So we have different things that we can add. We can create a text field, a selection, a checkbox, a radio, a select list, or a date field. So we could say, what is your birthday? Do you have any medical conditions? So a text field is going to be, how old are you? Question mark. You can add another text, a selection. There's various different check boxes. You can add a question saying, do you have any medical conditions? And you can have options. You can select a specific options. There are many, whatever you can think of. And then these questions are attached to the course level, so you can refer back to the course to a specific contact and how they answer these questions. You can view what it looks like. In this case, we only have the one question. How old are you? 19. And of course, you can also make them required. So I'm going to remove this one. Going to click on this one, and then we can make it required. So they have to answer the question. I'm just going to click cancel there, and we can select the one that has already been done in the system. So we can add a registration form or a questionnaire. Repeat. If this is a single event only once, we would simply repeat never. If we repeat daily, what we do is we'll repeat it, once every 1 day, every 2 days, every 3 days. So it would be today, tomorrow, the next day. Weekly is the one that most people would use. This class is going to happen every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's going to end never, so it's just going to keep on going into the future. But if you like, you can also say it's going to end on so many occurrences, or it's going to end on a specific date, December 31st. Booking. All right. So what we can do is we can add fees. So we can add an additional fee for this program, or if it's part of a service which is attached to a membership, then no fee is required. We can add taxes. If we add a fee, we can add taxes. So whatever taxes you have set in the system, and if it's required that you're charging additional fee, we also have to add the appropriate taxes if it's required. Are there any specific discounts that can be used with this program? If there are some, you can select those discounts from your discount field. The capacity. How many people can book into this event? So if your capacity is 12, then after 12, it's going to warn you saying you've reached your maximum capacity. As an administrator, you do have the ability to pass your capacity, but you would have to do it after a warning has been provided. Prerequisite is the same for the smart scan system. Are there rank ranges? If there are, you can simply put those in there. Is there an age range, or is there a gender, male, female, or co-ed? Is it membership based? You can also select that as well. Online. So for the online portion, we can say who is able to have this visible online. Is it for staff? Is it for members only? People who have login credentials who are members? Or is it for the general public? We also have our online display date. This is the day that it will display online. You can still, of course, register people into this prior to this, but this is the date that it will be displayed online. If there's an image that you want to display online, you can select an image here, you can provide a description, and the location. So if this is happening at a specific location, you can put the location field so that people know. Now in this is, as I told you before, these are pulled from the calendar level. So on this calendar, reminders are disabled. You have the ability, however, to enable them. So you can say, okay, I want 2 reminder emails. The first one is going to go out 1 week before, and the second one will go out 1 day before. And it'll be this custom reminder email that you put at the very beginning of this webinar. And then RSVP. On this calendar, RSVP was enabled, but maybe I don't want RSVP for this specific one, so I can disable it as well. And that, all the settings, click Save. And now on your calendar, you'll see Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is a reoccurring event. It will happen forever because I didn't end it for this specific class. And that is how you make a new calendar in the calendars, a new event in the calendar system. I hope you found this brief outline of the new calendar and a brief walkthrough of it informative. If you have any questions, please feel free to email marketing@perfectmind.com, or attend any of the live training sessions. And marketing@perfectmind.com will be sending out the times of these training sessions so that you can attend them. And the individuals will be able to show you again how all this works together. And if you have any questions about it, they can definitely help you out with that. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank you very much for watching this, and I look forward to seeing you out there, potentially at a live training session. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.